Okay, item number 4, we do have an agenda, Barry.
We do. Item 4.1.
Item 4.1 is the item Lake County position for Illinois State Bill 0669. Can I have a motion to have an addendum to the agenda? So Peterson, second by Hewitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
I wish to take that motion right now, as long as we got it. I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Lawlor to speak about this.
All right, well, we've heard a lot about this over the past week, and I think today I want to walk through the proposal in a little bit more detail and talk about some of the opportunities that we have. As I've talked to individuals over the past several days, they're angry. They're mad that Springfield is meddling in our business, a AAA bond-rated business, with this initiative when they can't pass a state budget for years. And the state has numerous challenges. People are leaving faster than they're coming, and businesses are having a hard time thriving. Yet, Senator Link and others have thought that it is in their infinite wisdom to have a countywide elected chair in 2020. I believe that first, any proposal has to include both the county board at the table and our voters at the table. And it's wrong that voters in other counties have this authority or have utilized this authority in order to see a countywide elected chair. But even if we think it's flawed or it has potential maybe, doesn't mean that we should just kind of start asking questions that get it into a point where there's analysis paralysis and it dies somewhere on a table. I really think that as you assess the situation, as I have and as Barry has and others, this is moving. This bill is passing. Whether it is Senate Bill 0669 or it is a John Cullerton Shell bill that moves faster than the blink of an eye in Springfield, every Springfield legislator, lobbyist, staff member to the governor, and others have said this is happening. And I've talked to members who are very concerned about that because they don't want to see the special place that we have in Lake County become one of the more challenging places in other counties that we see. Like right next door, what our neighbors are facing is they go through the growing pains of implementing a countywide elected chair. It's difficult, but it is happening, and so I believe this is an opportunity for us to shape it in a vision that is both reform-minded, that is bold, and that protects what is so great about this board, our bipartisanship, our fiscal responsibility, and our collegial attitudes. So I think that's really important to start out because that's the value proposition. I know we've talked a lot over the past week with individuals who have kind of mired me down in details, and those are important details, and we're going to get to them, but we can't let them get the best of us. We have to answer them, but recognize that if we just get dragged down in the mud and in the details on these issues, we're never going to get past the status quo. We're going to stay in the form that we're in, which might be good, but it's not good for the state. We need to be a leader here, and I think these reforms allow us to get there. So that's my soapbox, and I want to take you through our proposals. First of all, I want to thank Senator Link for agreeing to my proposal to put the initiative on the ballot, asking voters if they support a countywide elected chair. I came out with my position. We've been communicating via press. I'd like to get to know him and get to sit down with him in his office, but that was a huge win. I think it's important anytime voters have the opportunity to weigh in. Other amendments include redistricting reform that leverage the independent maps amendment process and really looks at the methodologies, the governance structures, and the processes that have been utilized to implement independent maps reforms around the country. The word fair is inherently subjective, and so we have to understand that. The word independent is subjective. We want to understand the governance models of who appoints these people and how they truly keep politics or keep unnecessary influence out of the process. And most importantly, what are their outcomes? How have they proven that through independent maps that they've done that? So that's something we will have to study, as well as looking at how we ensure that we maintain professional standards as we implement a countywide elected chair. We want to make sure that we maintain professional management, I think a managerial form of government, while giving the individual who's elected to that position the tools that they need to succeed. And finally, I am proposing that we streamline the county board during redistricting in 2022 by again reducing the size of the board. In 2011, after the 2010 census, Diana O'Kelly and I led the redistricting effort. A lot of you were at the table, almost all of you. And it was an interesting process. And we followed the law to the nth degree. And I gotta tell you, our map was legal, it wasn't litigated over, it was passed in a bipartisan manner. But you see both the potential good things of redistricting, and then you see the things that are less fair. And I think it is important that we say, hey, Republicans across the state, Democrats across the state have come out for fair maps, that they've said that it's something that we need to do. State leaders, particularly Mike Madigan, have blocked it, but we are going to be a model right here, because I've seen both sides, truly, down at the ground floor, and I think that is an opportunity. But back in 2011, we proposed during that process reducing the size of the county board by 2 seats, and it was enacted, obviously. That incremental reduction of the board, I think, is important to evaluate, because it speaks to finding the right balance between ensuring we have the most efficient and I think smaller government as possible, while making sure that our members can have access to the ballot and access to a chance at winning, that we don't create districts that are so large that you have to be on cable TV to win. And that they have districts where they can truly have a relationship with their constituents. Because whether it's our local outreach or our e-newsletters or whatever, it is that personal connection that many of us have with so many constituents that makes this board very special. So those are the things we want to focus on. I think that it's important that as we do that, we include as many voices as possible in the process. And so I think as I've talked to members, they've kind of said, what's next? Are we moving too fast? Do we need to maybe regroup? And the answer to that is, we're not moving too fast. We need to take a position on this bill. I think our reforms are reasonable. I think they're well supported by the public, and I've gotten good feedback from legislators. But we also need some time. We need some time to study issues and really make sure that we are validating outcomes, that we're looking at both the promise as well as potential things that need to change vis-a-vis other models. I think what we'll see is that we'll come up with a framework, and I want to leverage a lot of different voices in that. We're going to basically form a commission on county government reform, I think is what you're going to see next month. Barry and I have talked about it. We have an opportunity to engage former legislators, former county board members, people from inside and outside Lake County, current county board members, to look at all these things, to study the independent redistricting reform, to look at reform models around the country, and not just county reform models, but perhaps state initiatives in better run states, and city models as well. Because I think what we're going to find is you go outside of the Midwest, you don't have a lot of county boards of this size. They have councils of 3 to 7 or whatever. I don't think that's something that we'd want, by the way. I don't think you have the diversity of opinion there. But they're also going to have to look at how we are dealing with this restructuring and how it impacts our day-to-day operations, the issues of ethics and standards of conduct, and that's where I think we're already ahead. We have an opportunity to lead there and incorporate what's already been done into the work product. So having these people at the table will be, I think, incredibly important. We're going to create the task force next month with a specific scope and duty. They need to answer the questions on redistricting reform, answer the questions on the county government restructuring related to the board chairman. And third, I want to give the public and the board and elected officials the opportunity to have a place where they can make their own suggestions for reforms, where we can share ideas and we can provide a forum that allows them to be studied in the future. So I think these are very reasonable steps to both take a position on this bill, understanding that it is happening, it is moving, and we have to do a lot of work potentially anyway, and then to be a shining light in a state that is all too often dim. And I think we have an opportunity there as well. So thank you.